Good morning, it's Sharon with simplycanning.com here, and I thought I would talk to you today about liquid loss. Liquid loss is something in canning that's really frustrating, and sometimes people say, oh, it's easily avoidable, but it's something that happens to everybody, even me. So let me show you. I just canned up these apricots yesterday, and when I took them out of the canner, the liquid was clear up here, and I thought, oh, hey, we're doing pretty good. And then this morning I checked them when they had completely cooled, and the liquid in this jar is down to about there. I have another jar and it's also down to about there. I had 3 or 4 jars in this batch that I lost a little bit of liquid. Now, liquid loss can be caused by a couple of things. When you're water bath canning, which is what I did today, it can be because you boiled it like more than it really needed to be. When you're water bath canning, you want your water boiling, you want it rolling, but it doesn't need to be boiling so hard that it's like splashing out of the canner. So do make sure there's bubbles coming up regularly. You shouldn't be able to like open the lid and have it cool down and have not have bubbles happening. The water needs to be rolling, but a rolling boil doesn't mean it has to be totally like splashing out of the canner. Another thing is you want to, with pressure canning, you don't want to bring your pressure too much higher than what your requirement is, because remember the requirements are different for your elevation. Also, you want to keep that pressure level. You don't want to go up and then down and then up and then down. For sure, if you go down lower than what's required for your elevation, then you need to start your time over, and nobody wants to do that. That's really a drag. But even if you stay above your proper pressure, if it's fluctuating up and down like that throughout the whole time, then you're gonna more likely to have liquid loss. Now, the second reason, and I think this is probably more common for liquid loss, is you try to take your jars out of the canner too soon. So with pressure canning, if you cool that canner down like with cold water, or you blow air on it, or cool air or something to try to bring the pressure down faster, you're more likely to have liquid loss. That's why when your processing time is done, you're going to wait and let the canner rest for a little bit. And then you open your lid, and then you wait and you let it rest for a little bit more, and then take the lid off, and then I even wait and let it rest a little bit more. I really try to slow things down, and then it just reduces that chance of liquid loss. And it's the same with the water bath canner. When you're done with your processing time, I take my lid off, I wait, and I let everything just rest for about 10 minutes. Then I'll pull those jars up out of the water and leave them resting, on the rack that's on the canner, and I'll wait for another 10 minutes. That's the time when I'll take them out and I'll put them on the counter, and I often throw a towel over them just to slow it down a little bit, and then I wait. That's what I did with these, and I still ended up with a little bit of liquid loss. I have a theory, and I don't know if it's true, but my theory is I live at high elevation, and so because our pressure is much higher and our processing time is longer for water bath canning, I wonder if that causes more liquid loss and more issues. I don't know if that's true or not, but I'm always careful, and I do occasionally end up with a little liquid loss. It just happens. As long as it's not extreme, your jars are still fine. They're safe. You can still store them on the shelf. This is down to here. I don't consider that to be extreme. If it was halfway or lower, then that's extreme. And then what you would need to do is just put that jar in the fridge and use it up, within a week or so, depending on the food type, just like you would any other jar that you've opened already. Just consider it like an open jar, put it in the fridge, and use it up. That's my theory. I am going to ask you, would you chime in down below and just tell me, do you struggle with liquid loss? And if you do, are you at a high elevation? Maybe it's just me, and that's not, it has nothing to do with it. I don't know. It's just my theory, and so I'm just curious if anybody else has noticed the same thing. Or if you struggle with liquid loss, are you at a low elevation? So maybe there's a bunch of you like that out there. So this is very unscientific, just curious. Most of the time I don't have a lot of liquid loss, but every once in a while something like that happens, and I think, I wonder what happened. And with me, it's usually with fruit like peaches and apricots. Those are the two things that I often have just a little bit of liquid loss in there, and I'm always careful, and it happens. So anyway, comment below. Let me know what you think. Does it have anything to do with altitude, or is it just that has nothing to do with it? So I hope that was helpful as far as knowing when it's okay. It's always not good. I mean, we always want to avoid it, but it's not the end of the world. You can still use those jars. So you guys have a wonderful day, and we'll talk to you next time.